Hello everyone, welcome to Voxel. In this video, we're gonna discuss reading passage 3 of 4th test taken from academic book 18th. So without further ado, let's start. So the title of the passage says Alfred Wegener, Science Exploration and the Theory of Continental Drift by Mott T Greene. So from the title, it's quite clear that this passage is about uh, continental drift theory given by Alfred Wegener, and it's basically about science and exploration, and it is written by Mott T Greene. So you have to be very careful. There like two names are given. This is the name on which this passage is based or this information is based, and this particular person, Mott T Greene, is the author of this particular passage, or you can say section. I hope it is clear. Now, if you don't know what continental drift theory is, don't worry about that. Neither do I. I don't have any information or any knowledge about this particular theory. But from the name, I can deduce that it will be about our continents drifting apart, because there was a popular belief that all our continents, they were joined, and because of some natural incidents or the way the nature took place, they broke and drifted apart. So I believe that this might be that particular theory we are talking about, but it can be something else, but we don't have to worry about that. Why? Because all our answers will be given in the paragraph, and we just have to find it, because they are trying to check our level of English. They are not trying to check our GK or our IQ. I hope it is clear now. What we're gonna do, we are gonna look at the questions first. We are not gonna look at the paragraph just yet. We're gonna look at the questions, see what kind of questions we have been given, make a strategy, and then start reading the paragraph according to that. So let's look at the total number of questions from 27 to 40. So we we have questions from 27 to 40. So that means we have total of 14 questions, and questions are on the right hand side. So here questions 27 to 30. So this is our first set of questions, and we have yes, no, not given. So when we will write yes, if when the statement agrees with the claims of the writer, no when the statement contradicts with the claims of the writer, and not given when it's impossible to say when what the writer thinks about this particular thing. It's quite similar to how you solve true false not given, but in that particular thing, in true false not given, the basic difference is that you are given like factual statements. Here you are have to testify or verify the claims. Let's see, 31 to 36, complete the summary using list of phrases A to J below. So you have to complete the blanks, but you have to use the words given in this particular box here. Okay, so what you have to write, you have to write the correct letter on your answer sheet. Like for example, for 31st, if the answer is C, you have to write C. You cannot write record breaking achievement. If you write record breaking achievement instead of C, your answer will be marked as incorrect, even though it is correct. Why? Because you haven't followed the instruction properly. 37 to 40. So this is our last set of questions, because we have like from 27 to 40, and these are MCQ. So you have to pick one letter from this. Clear? Now we will make some strategy. Let me change the color for this first. Okay, for this yes no not given, okay, we have this Wegener life and work, and for this what we're gonna do is we're gonna read the first question of each set, may mark some keywords, and then start reading the paragraph, because paragraphs are there is no like list of like there is no headings to the paragraph, sections are not being divided. So we will read the questions first. Wagner's ideas about continental drift were widely disputed when he was alive. So wherever we will read about continental drift and when he was alive, those ideas were disputed, our answer will be somewhere there, and wherever we will read about continental drift. Okay, let's read this first question of this. Wagner's life and work. So wherever Wagner's life and work will be discussed, our answer will be there. But just for the safe on the safer side, let's read the 31st question. One of the remarkable things about Wegener from a blank is that although he proposed continental drift theory, so he was not a geologist. So wherever it will be written that he gave us continental drift theory, but he was not a geologist, there will we will find our location. Clear? And for 37th, what is Mott T Greene doing in the fifth? Okay, here we have been given the exact location. It's in the fifth paragraph. 38th, it's in the sixth paragraph, and 39th and 40th is in the final paragraph. 39th obviously between sixth and final paragraph. Let's see where is fifth paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is our fifth paragraph. Let's just mark it for this like safety, so that in the if you are doing on pen and paper, you can just write 1, 2, 3, 4 in front of the paragraphs, so that when you will arrive at the fifth paragraph, you will know when you have arrived. So we don't have to concern ourselves with these questions until the fifth paragraph. This questions continental drift geologist, and here continental drift alive. Let's start reading the paragraph now. Let me change the color. Introduction. This is a book about the life and scientific work of Alfred Wegener, whose reputation today rests with his theory of continental displacements, better known as continental drift. So here's something about continental drift has been given to us. Now what the writer is trying to say in this particular sentence. So the writer is trying to say that this particular book, so this passage is taken from a book. This particular book is about the life and scientific work of Alfred, and whose reputation rests with his theory of this. Wagner proposed this theory in 1912 and developed it extensively for nearly 20 years. So when was the theory proposed? Theory was proposed in 1912, and he developed it extensively for nearly 20 years. His book on the subject, The Origin of Continents and Oceans, went through 4 editions and was the focus of an international controversy in his lifetime and for years after his death. So here's something about year and lifetime. So our answer here is in this particular sentence. Let me remove this. So our answer is in this particular sentence because there is something about continental drift. He was alive after his death. So now what the question is saying Wagner's idea about continental drift were disputed when he was alive. If that is the case, like if there were you can say opposition to his ideas during his lifetime, then the answer will be yes. But if there was no opposition, scientists or other people openly you can say welcomed this theory, they accepted this theory without any problem, then the answer will be no. But if we don't know about the reaction of other people, like whether they were in opposition or in you can say agreement, then the answer will be not given because we don't have any idea about their reaction. I hope it is clear. Here they're saying that his book went through 4 editions and it was the focus of international controversy for in his lifetime and for some years after his death. So you will have okay, I forgot to tell you, I do this in every video. You will get around 10 seconds to tell me the answer, whether it's yes, no or not given, or for every question. And if you need more time than that, you can pause the video and continue when you are ready with your answer. For this question number 27, your time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this particular question is, let me write it here. Drum roll please. Yes. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. Why it is yes? If not, don't worry, I'm gonna explain why it is yes. So here they're saying that the ideas were disputed, meaning to say there was some opposition, people were against it. So here it's clearly mentioned that and the focus was on international controversy in his lifetime. In his lifetime there was international controversy on his ideas, on his book. So if there was international controversy, so when we use this particular word controversy, when there is some arguments between two people or there is some opposition, so obviously they were disputed. That's why we will have yes for question number 27 as our answer. I hope it is clear. Now, do we need to read this particular question 32? No. Why? Though this there is mention of continental drift. Clear? But there is no mention about whether he was a geologist or not, something like that. Okay, let me just mark it. Not, I forgot. So but there is no mention that he was not a geologist. So we don't have to worry about that. Clear? And we know this is in the fifth paragraph, so we don't have to worry about that either. Now let's read 28th question. The idea that the continents remain fixed in place was defended in a number of respected scientific publications. This particular idea, what the idea was, continents, they were fixed in a place, and this idea was defended in a number of respected scientific publications. If that is the case, if this idea was defended, meaning to say there was a lot of support for this idea that continents did not drift apart, they were fixed, or they are fixed, or they have been fixed in the particular place since the beginning of the earth or beginning of the time, then the answer will be yes. But if this particular idea did not gain any support, or if there was no, it was not supported in many scientific publications, then the answer will be no. And when if we don't know whether this idea was supported in many publications or not, something like that, then the answer will be not given. I hope I made the question clear. Let's read the second paragraph and see where is this question given. Wegener's basic idea was that many mysteries about the Earth's history could be solved if one supposed that the continents moved laterally rather than supposing that they remained fixed in a place. So here's something about continents uh, remaining fixed in a place. Wegener showed in a great detail how such continental movements were plausible and how they worked, using evidence from a large number of sciences including geology, geophysics, planetology, and climatology. So this particular person, Wegener, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. So he showed in a great detail. So he because he was studying on it for 20 years, developing this theory for 20 years. So it was in great detail that continental movement, they were plausible. What does plausible mean? Yeah, plausible mean possible. He said that they were possible, and how they worked. He also told that, and he used evidence from a large number of sciences, like scientific fields, including geology, geophysics, planetology, and climatology. So these are the areas of science he used to justify his answer. Wegener's idea that the continents move is at the heart of the theory that guides Earth's sciences today, namely plate tectonics. So this his person's particular idea that continents move is basically gave us the like you can say science or knowledge about plate tectonics, from where we know how they basically earthquakes occur, I believe. Tectonics is in many respects quite different from Wegener's proposal, in the same way that modern evolutionary theory is very different from the ideas Charles Darwin proposed in the 1850s about biological evolution. So now they have compared that though plate tectonics is different from Wegener's proposal, it is like different in the same respect as evolution theory of modern evolution theory is different from Charles' idea of biological evolution. So the basis may be same, the idea may have generated from Charles, but the theory that now scientists have accepted is different from Charles Darwin. Similarly, idea of plate tectonics is different from Wagner's proposal, but Wagner's proposal initiated these thoughts. So they are just talking about these kinds of things. Yet plate tectonic is a descendant of Alfred Wegener's theory of continental drift in quite the same way, as I was explaining you earlier. So they have explained it in this particular sentence. So there was about remaining at a fixed place. Let's read the 29th question. Wagner relied on a limited range of scientific field to support his theory of continental drift. So have we read anything about sorry about that. Let me do it again. Have we read anything about range of scientific fields? Yes, here geology, geophysics, planetology, and climatology. Okay, and he is relying on this particular thing to prove the theory of continental drift. So obviously, we have found the location of remaining in a fixed place, and here it is. So this is your location of question number 28. So for this, you have around 10 seconds. Tell me whether the answer to the question number 28 is yes, no, or not given, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to question number 28 is yes, no, or not given. What you have marked? Yes, not given. I hope everybody arrived at the correct answer. If not, don't worry, I'm gonna explain. Here, yeah, we have found this particular given that continents remained in fixed place. This is the idea. So they remained in a fixed place. Obviously, they here refers to continents. So continent, sorry. So they here refers to continent. So they remained in fixed place. But whether this idea was defended in a number of scientific publications, we don't know about that. So not given. We cannot say no because we don't know whether they were defended or not defended. So nothing is given, not given. 29th, let's understand the question first. Wegener relied on a limited range of scientific fields to support his theory of continental drift. If Wegener, he relied on a limited range of scientific fields, like these fields were limited, not like huge in number, something like that, limited in number, so a limited range, then the answer will be yes. But if his theory, or if he didn't rely on a limited range but on a wide range of scientific fields to support his theory, then the answer will be no. And if we don't know whether the range was limited or not, whether he used that particular fields or not, the answer will be not given. I hope I made the question clear. And where is the location? Here. Let me just mark the location first. This is our location. You will have around 10 seconds to tell me whether the answer is yes, no, or not given. The time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this particular question is yes, no, or not given. What you have marked? Yes, the answer is no. Sorry, I hope you arrived at the correct answer. Why it is no? Because here the question is saying that a limited range of scientific fields, but here he used a large number of sciences. So he is using evidence from a large number of sciences. A large number, a limited number, obviously they are opposite. So the answer is no. I hope it is clear. Let's read 30th question and see if we find it here or not. The similarities between Wegener's theory of continental drift and modern day plate tectonics are enormous. So, similarities between Wegener's theory of continental drift and modern day plate tectonics, if they are enormous, meaning to say if there are a lot of similarities between these two things, then the answer will be yes. But if there are not so many similarities, if they are just similar in names, or there's little similarity between these two, the answer will be no. and if we don't know whether they share any similarities or not, or whether they are entirely different, if we don't know anything about that, the answer will be not given. So we have sorry about that, we have read this here. Let's see where we have read. Wagner, the continental play technology in many ways the same in modern. So here we have information. Plate tectonics is in many ways is in many respects quite different for Wagner's proposal in the same way modern. So we have just look here we are talking about Charles Darwin. So we don't have to we don't have to worry about that particular thing. Let me write the location here. So we have found our location of question number 30th as well. So you will have around 10 seconds to tell me whether the answer is yes, no, or not given. So here in this particular sentence you will get your answer. The time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this particular question is yes, no, or not given. No. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. It was quite straightforward. Here they're saying similarities between these two things. Here they're saying they are quite different. If they are different, obviously they are not similar. Here they're saying similarities. So obviously it is opposite. So the answer to this question is no. I hope it is clear. Now let's see. Do we need to read 31st question yet? No, because we haven't had read any information about he was not a geologist or something like that. Clear? Let's continue reading. This is our third paragraph. So we don't have to worry about this. Why? Because we have marked this, so we know this is our in the fifth paragraph. So we don't have to worry about that. Let's see if we find these questions here or not. When I started about writing about Wagner's life and work. So okay, here what does I mean here, or what does I refer to? Yeah, I refer to the author of this particular book. Then author is Mott T Greene. Clear? So when I, meaning to say Mott T Greene, started writing about Wagner's life and work, one of the most intriguing things about him for me again means Mott T Greene, him means Wagner, was that although he came up with the theory on continental drift, he was not a geologist. Okay, so we have found the exact line. He proposed the theory, he came up with the theory of continental drift. He was not a geologist, he was not a geologist. So we have found the exact line. So now okay, before doing this, let me just let us go through these words and see if if you are able to understand these words. Why? Because if you are not able to understand these words, you will not be able to identify the answers. Reason being, most of the time, like overwhelming majority of the times, you will not find the exact words. For example, you will not find modest fame. For example, you may find some other, it is written in some other way. Modest fame means he was famous but not too greatly. Okay, he was not widely famous. So vast range, you may find it written in any other way. So we have to understand what these words mean. So when we read the sentence where our location is given, we are able to understand the meaning of this sentence, and we can pick the best word to suit or to fill out that particular sentence. So let's read the word. Modest fame, not too famous. Vast range, you know, a variety of range. Record breaking achievement, it's quite simple. Research methods. Select group means selected group, like a group made of a particular people. Professional interests, obviously we know about that. Scientific debate. Hazardous exploration. Hazardous means dangerous. Biographers perspective. Biographers, obviously perspective means view, biographer means person writing that particular thing. Narrow investigation means the investigation was not too wide, not too broad, it just focused on few aspects. So narrow investigation. So I hope I have made the words clear. Now this is the sentence, this is the sentence where your answer is So you have around 10 seconds to tell me which option suits best for question 31, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up. First, let me write the answer here, and the answer to question 31 is I. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. Let me first mark it here. Biographer's perspective. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. Now, let's see from where we have found this answer. So here they are saying that one of the remarkable things about Wagner's from a. So from a means you have to write that particular word which will be like singular noun. Clear? So from it is here it is written, one of the most intriguing things about him, and I already told you him is him referring to Wagner. For me was that, for me meaning to say, now sorry about that, me here is referring to, yes, author, and author here is biographer. It is the biography. I hope it is clear. Now moving on to 32nd question. His dash were limited to atmospheric physics. His blank were limited to atmospheric physics. So his something were limited to. So here were indicates what kind of word do you think should be here? Yes, plural, not singular. So plural word should be here. His something that is plural were limited to atmospheric physics. So if he was, we're talking about he is not a, or he was not a geologist. So it should be some kind of profession. He's in something. Okay, let's see. He trained as an astronomer and pursued a career in atmospheric physics. Why I'm speaking astronomic, something like that. He's trained as an astronomer and he pursued a career in atmospheric physics. So now we're talking about his profession. So now here is talking about limited to atmospheric physics. So here saying that pursued a career in atmospheric physics. So this is our obviously location for this particular thing. Now you have to understand this particular question and then try to find the exact words that will justify this particular answer. And for this you have 10 seconds to tell me which alphabet do you think should be the answer. The time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this particular question is which letter? Yes, F. I hope you were able to identify this particular answer. First, let me mark it. So now we have already told from verb we were able to identify that this should be plural. So modest fame, vast range, achievement, group, debate, exploration, investigation. These words were out of question. So only plural were remaining were research methods, professional interest. So his research methods were limited. We are not talking about methods here. We are talking about he pursued a career in. So if you are pursuing a career in something, obviously that is your interest, area of interest. So if you are interested in, let's just say engineering, you will pursue a career in engineering. If you're interested in medicine, you will pursue a career as a doctor or something like that. So because of his professional interests, he pursued a career in atmospheric physics. I hope I was able to make it clear. Now moving on to 33rd question. However, at the time he proposed his theory of continental drift in 1912, now we have given the location 1912, he was already a person of 33, of something. Oh, okay. Now we're saying that, however, when he proposed this theory, like in 1912, he was already a person of something. a person of let's see what kind of word is should be here. When first find, we'll try to find out the location. When he proposed the theory of continental displacement in 1912. Okay, when he proposed, so he proposed the theory of continental displacement in 1912. At the time he proposed 1912, he was a lecturer in physics and astronomy at the University of Marburg in southern Germany. However, he was not an unknown. So, however, he was not an unknown. Now we are talking about the opposites. Now here, however, he was this, he was something. So he was this, he was something. So obviously from here to here you will find your answer, because these two sentences are in opposition to each other. So here we are finding that however something comma he was something. Let's see if you're able to find this answer, and you have around 10 seconds for this. The time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this particular question is yes. Which option have you marked? Yes, A option. I hope you were able to identify this particular answer. If not, don't worry, I'm going to explain. So here they're saying that however, so here they have contradicted to, or they have joined two sentences in one. So when he proposed his theory comma he was already something. So here they're saying that when he proposed this theory he was lecturer in physics and astronomy. However, he was not an unknown. So he was not an unknown, meaning to what it means. He was not an unknown, that he was not an unknown person. So he was rather famous, not like greatly famous to a great extent, but he had a modest fame. People know him, but he was not some like celebrity, something like that. I hope it is clear. Let's read the 34th question now. 6 year previously. Now 6 year previously means from 1912, I think, sorry, from 1912. So go back 6 year, 1906. So it is something 1906. There had been his dash of 52 hours in a hot air balloon, followed by his well published but blank of Greenland's coast. Okay, so now we have I have to find two answers in the same sentence. So let's understand the question first. So 6 years before, like 1906, there had been his blank of 52 hours in a hot air balloon. So he did something in a hot air balloon for 52 hours, and there was his something, and it was followed by his well publicized but blank. So well publicized and but means there should be some kind of negative thing, I believe, because well publicized is a sort of a positive thing, but maybe negative. Let's see. In 1906, so we have found 6 years previously, he had set a world record with his brother Kurt for time aloft in a hot air balloon 52 hours. So here it is written in air for 52 hours. Now our answer is in this particular sentence for question number 34th, and to tell me the answer you have around 10 seconds. The time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this particular question is, it was quite straightforward. You do not have to overthink the answers, and the answer to this question is option C, record breaking achievement. So record breaking achievement, where it is written, yes, a world record. So he has set a world record. So world record is obviously, if you are setting a world record in any sport or in any area of life, that means you are breaking some previous record, or you are setting a new record. So record breaking achievement. I hope it is clear. And let's see Greenland coast, what he did there. Followed by, so between 1906 and 1908, that is followed by. So after this, he had taken part in a highly publicized, well publicized, and extremely dangerous expedition to the coast of northeast Greenland. So Greenland's coast of the northeast Greenland. So obviously our answer is in this particular sentence. For question number 35, the time, and your time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this particular question is yes, H option. Hazardous exploration. So where it is written, yes, extremely dangerous. So what I am doing right now, just let me do this again. This is question 35. So extreme, sorry, expedition, I forgot about that. So now let me do this. I mistakenly did this, so I should have done this so that you can able to identify where the answer is. Okay, now let me explain. So here they're saying that followed by his well publicized, so dangerous expedition, just dangerous mean hazardous, hazardous means dangerous, exploration, expedition. So if you're trying to explore something, so he was exploring coast of the northeast Greenland, so exploration, expedition. I hope it is clear. Let's read 36th question now. With the publication of his textbook on thermodynamics, so his book is now published on thermodynamics, he had also come to the attention of a, again singular, dash of German scientist. Of if you have to fill in any word, what kind of word do you think should be here? Attention of a group of German scientists, something like that. And because it's quite evident, it should be something like that. So a vast range of German scientists, attention of a vast range. Yeah, it could be like that. Research methods doesn't make any sense. A select group, yes, it can be. A scientific debate doesn't. So from B and E, another investigation of German. No, from B and E, I believe. Let's see what has been written in the text. He had also made a name for himself amongst a small circle of meteorologists and atmospheric physicists in Germany as author of textbook Thermodynamics of the Atmosphere and a number of interesting scientific papers. So here's something about his textbook. Okay, and he had come to the attention of, he had also made a name for himself amongst someone. Okay, so obviously in this particular sentence your answer lies here, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this particular question 36 is yes, E. Let me first mark it here. I hope you were able to identify this answer where it is written here. A small circle of. So a small circle just means a select group. So you are, if you have a small circle of friends, so you are just selective in your friends. As you have a selected group. I hope it is clear. So now we have found these answers. We have found 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Okay, we have found all these answers. Now we know the answer is in fifth paragraph. and this is the fifth. So this paragraph we do not have any answer in it. Okay, just let me read it so that we know we have read it we have read everything carefully, so there will be no answers here in this. So we will go through it quickly. As important as Wagner's work on continental drift has turned out to be, it was largely a sideline to his interest in atmospheric physics, geophysics, and paleoclimatology, and thus I have been at great pains to put Wagner's work on continental drift in the larger context of his other scientific work and in the even larger context of atmospheric sciences in his lifetime. So now the writer is saying that because of his work in these particular fields, he is facing difficulty in like writing that particular book. This is a continental drift book only to the extent that Wagner was interested in that topic and later became famous for it. My treatment of his other scientific work is no less detailed, though I certainly have devoted more attention to the reception of his ideas on continental displacement, as they were much more controversial than his other work. So the writer is trying to say that he also included his other works, though the name of this particular book refers that it is on continental drift only, but because he was famous for it, so he devoted more attention to this particular kind of work. Clear? So here the asterisk sign means there must be some definition of this. Paleoclimatology, the study of past climate, so we don't have to worry about that. That means we do not have any answer in this. This is just the difficulty of the writer. They have explained, or he has explained, that difficulty he was facing. Now we will read 37th question. What is Mott T Greene? So who is Mott T Greene? Yeah, writer, author, biographer. Doing in the fifth paragraph. Now we have to tell what he is trying to do in the fifth paragraph. Describing what motivated him to write the book. He is describing what gave him motivation. Explaining why it is desirable to read the whole book. Why he is trying to explain why it is desirable that you read the whole book, not just some chapters, the entire book. Suggesting why Wagner pursued so many different careers. Is he trying to suggest or tell why he pursued different careers? If that's the case, C will be our answer. D, indicating what aspects of Wagner's life interested him. So he is trying to tell what aspects or what areas of Wagner's life interested him the most. Clear? So you have to be very careful between option A and D, because A is what motivated him to write the book, and D is saying which Wagner's life incidents or what part of Wagner life interested him the most. Like when he was writing the book, what part of Wagner's life interested him the most? Like was his school life, was his like something like that. Like what part of Wagner's life interested him the most? I hope I have made myself clear and all these options clear. Let's start reading the paragraph and see what he's trying to do. Readers interested in this specific detail of Wagner's career will see that he often stopped pursuing a given line of investigation, sometimes for years on end, only to pick it up later. So now he's saying that readers interested in this specific detail of career, they will note that he means to say Wagner, he often stopped pursuing investigation for years on end, like for many years. Sometimes he entirely stopped doing particular work he was doing only to pick it up later. So why he stopped? Just to pick that particular thing later in life. I have tried to provide guideposts to his rapidly shifting interest. So he had tried to provide guideposts, signposts to his rapidly shifting interest by characterizing different phases of his life as careers in different sciences, which is reflected in the titles of the chapter. So in the titles, he has clearly indicated what he did in that particular part of his life. Thus, the index should be a sufficient guide for those interested in a particular aspect of Wagner's life, but perhaps not all of it. So he's saying that index, it will be a sufficient guide. So if you are interested in a particular aspect of Wagner's life, from the index you can easily find out that particular movement on his life. My own feeling, however, so what he feels, however, is that the parts do not make as much sense on their own as do all of his activities taken together. So he's saying that if you read the parts of his life, they will not make as much sense as if you read other activities he did during that part of his life. In this respect, I urge readers to try to experience Wagner's life as he lived it, with all the interruptions, changes of mind, and renewed efforts in this entail. So, what he is trying to urge readers to do is he is trying readers to try to experience Wagner's life as he lived it, like what he did first, when then what he did after that, when then what he did after that, why he stopped doing something and why he picked it up later in his life. So he's urging readers sorry about that, he's urging readers to read everything with all the interruptions. So interruption means stoppages, let me highlight it, and his changes of mind and his renewed efforts of this particular thing. I hope I have made the paragraph clear. Let me do this. Now you will have around 10 seconds to tell me the answer to this particular question, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this question is A, B, C, or D? Yes, the answer is B, explaining why it is desirable to read the whole book. And where it is written in the last sentences. So you have to, if you want to things to make sense, you have to read it as it is, with all the interruptions and with all the changes of mind, so that you can understand his thought process, how he lived his life, so that you can get a better understanding why he picked some career, or why he picked some topic to do research on that. I hope it is clear. So let's see why other options are not our answer. Yeah. So describing what motivated him to write the book, there is no description that because of this particular incident or this particular thing I started to write, or I decided to write this particular book. So he did not suggest, or he did not give any reasons why Wagner pursued so many different careers. And there is no indication that the author is not trying to just tell that I liked this part of his career most, or this part of his life more than other parts. So there is nothing like that. He's trying to urge the readers to read the book completely. I hope it is clear. Now 38th, sixth paragraph. This is our sixth paragraph. Let's read the question first. What is said about Wagner? So we are trying to say what is being said about Wagner in the sixth paragraph. He was not a particularly ambitious person. If he was not an ambitious, what happened here? So if he was not an not if he is not an ambitious person, then A will be our answer. B, he kept a record of all his scientific observation. If he was keeping record of all his observations, B will be our answer. C option, he did not adopt many scientific practices of the time. So if he did not use or adopt practices of that particular time, then C will be our answer. D, he enjoyed discussing new discoveries with other scientists. If he enjoyed talking with other scientists about new discoveries, then D will be our answer. Let's see what he did. Wegener left behind a few published works, but as was standard practice, these reported the results of his work, not the journey he took to reach that particular point. So they're saying that Wagner, he left behind, but he left behind a few published works. But as was the standard practice back then, these were the just results of his work, not about the journey. Only a few hundred of the many thousands of letters he wrote and received in his lifetime have survived, and he didn't keep notebooks or diaries that recorded his life and activities. So he wrote, obviously, and received many thousands of letters in his lifetime, but only a few hundred of them survived. But he also did not keep any notebooks and diaries that recorded his life or activities. So there is not much proof of this particular thing. He was not active, with the few exceptions, in scientific societies. So he was not particularly active in scientific societies and did not seek to find influence or advance his ideas through professional contacts and politics. And he didn't use professional contacts and politics influence to do these particular kind of things. Spending most of his time at home, he spent most of his time at his home in his study, reading and writing, or in the field collecting observation. So he like usually spent time by himself doing what he loved. So now you have 10 seconds to tell me the answer to question number 38, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this particular question is, let me mark it first. What have you written, A, B, C or D? Yes, the answer to this is A. He was not a particularly ambitious person. Why? Sorry about sorry about that. Why this is your answer? So here they have said that he did not seek to find influence or advance his ideas through this, and he spent most time in his home. So if he was an ambitious person, he would use everything in his power or everything he can do to influence other people, to advance his ideas, to make name for himself, but he didn't do that. Clear? Let's see why other options are not our answer, why they are incorrect. So B, he kept record of all his scientific observation. This is not true. Why? Because he just used to keep record of results, not the journey that he took to this particular thing. So not all the observations. Clear? And he didn't keep any diaries to record his lives and activities as well. C, he did not adopt many scientific practices of that particular time. There is no mention of this, whether what kind of like methods he used were this same as that particular time, and obviously he did what was the standard practice back then. So obviously he was using those scientific practices. So he enjoyed discussing his ideas with other scientists. No, he did not seek to do his influence, and he spent most of his time in his home. So spending most of his time in his study, reading and writing. Clear? So that's why D cannot be our answer. I hope it is clear. So let me do this. Yeah, let me mark it here. So this is our answer. Clear? Let's read 39th question now. So let's see where is the final paragraph. Okay, this is the final paragraph. So obviously 39th will be here. So let's read it. What does Greene say about some other famous scientist? Now we have to tell what does the biographer, the author, what does he thought about other famous scientists. Their published works had a greater impact than Wegener's did. So their work had a greater impact than Wegener. They had fewer doubts about their scientific ideas than Wegener did. So they had fewer doubts about their scientific ideas than Wegener. So Wegener, he had more doubts about his ideas, whether his ideas were logical or not, or can be possible or not. But other scientists, they didn't have that many doubts. See, their scientific ideas were more controversial than Wegener's. So if their ideas were more controversial than Wegener's, then C will be our answer. D, they are easier subjects to write about than Wegener. So if writing about them is easier than Wegener, then D will be our answer. Let's see what he thought about other scientists. Some famous scientists such as Newton, Darwin, and Einstein left mountains of written material behind, hundreds of notebooks and letters numbering in tens of thousands. So now other scientists, other famous scientists, he has given the name Newton, Darwin, and Einstein. They left mountains of written material behind, hundreds of notebooks and letters numbering in tens of thousands. Others, like Michael Faraday, left extensive journals of their thoughts and speculations, parallel to their scientific notebooks. The more such material a scientist leaves behind, the better chance a biographer has of forming an accurate picture of how a scientist's ideas took shape and evolved. So he's saying that if a biographer has more material like other scientists left behind, he can write about them in a better way. Clear? So obviously this is our location of this particular question. Now you will have around 10 seconds to tell me the answer to this particular question number 39, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this particular question is A, B, C, or D. Yes, the answer is option D. They are easier subjects to write about than Wegener. Why they are easier? Because they have left behind mountains of data. So from this, the biographer can form an accurate picture how scientist idea took shape and evolved, like how they thought, what was going through their head, going in their head, and why they started to write on particular topic, something like that. If they had more such data, they can easily make a complete picture or form accurate thoughts about that particular scientist. Let's see why other options cannot be our answer. So there is no mention about their work was more impactful than Wagner. So there is again no mention about they had fewer doubts, and nothing about controversy as well. So these options they are not mentioned in any form or way. Okay, we have last paragraph left and we have last question left also. So let's read it. What is Greene's main point in the final paragraph? Now we have to find out what he's trying to tell us, like what is the main point, main purpose of writing this particular thing. It is not enough in life to have good intentions. So just having good intentions is not good enough. So you need to do more than that. B, people need to plan carefully if they want to succeed. So if you have to plan carefully if you want to succeed. People have little control over many aspects of their life. So obviously you people, obviously let's say you will have little control over many parts of your life. Like some things or many things will happen in your life that you have no control over. It is important that people ensure they have the freedom to act. So it's important that people make sure that they have the freedom to act, like they should have freedom in their mind, they should not be surrounded by self doubt, something like that, and they should act on what they plan. Let's read the paragraph now. I am firmly of the opinion, so here I refers to, yes, Green. I firmly of the opinion, so opinion basically the main idea he is trying to make, that most of us, Wegener included, are not in any real sense the authors of our own lives. So he's trying to say that most of us, like majority of people, we are not in any sense the authors of our own lives. We plan, think, and act, often with apparent freedom, but most of the time our lives happen to us, and we only retrospectively turn this happenstance into a coherent narrative of fulfilled intentions. He's saying that we plan, we think, and we act, often with freedom, but most of the time what happens was our lives happen to us instead of us making life happen to us, and we retrospectively turn in this particular happenstance into a coherent narrative of fulfilled intentions. This book, therefore, is a story both of the life and scientific work that Alfred Wegener planned and intended, and the life and scientific work that actually happened to him. So, this book covers both things. these things that life and work that he planned and intended, he wanted to do, and the life and work that happened to him that he was able to do. These are, as I think you soon will see, not always the same thing. So obviously what you plan to do and what happens to you, they are entirely different things. But as humans, we try to make sense of this. Like you plan to do a thing, but it turned out to be something else. So you thought that whatever happens, if everything that happens for a reason, something like that, we try to make sense of this particular thing. Clear? So now you know the drill. You have around 10 seconds to tell me the answer. The time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this particular question is C. People have little control over many aspects of their life. Where it is written in the beginning of the sentence itself, and if you like read the other all the paragraphs, so this thing happened like from here to here, you can say entire thing has been given. So let's see why other options are not our answer. So it is not enough. There is no mention that only good intentions are not enough. People need to plan carefully. There is no mention that yeah we plan, but do we need to plan carefully? There is no mention like this for to succeed. It is important. Yeah, we act with freedom. Here it is written. We act with freedom. We plan. We think, and we act often with freedom. But what happens is most of the time we are not authors of our own life in any real sense. So we are just retrospectively reacting. We are just reacting to whatever is happening in our lives. So we are trying to do a thing, but if b things happen, we just make connections with the a, like we tried to do this, but this happens. Yeah, that's close enough, that's good enough for me. Then we start on the next thing. We move on to the next thing. I hope it is clear. So let's see, have we done all these questions 30? Yeah, we have done this. So I hope I was able to make this paragraph clear, so you were able to understand everything. But if you were not able to understand any particular question, you should rewatch that part of the video again and again until it is clear to you. And if still the doubt persists, you can ask us in the comment section. We will be happy to help you. So I just want to tell you one more thing. If you are struggling in your writing and or speaking, like you are not getting your desired band score, for example, let's just say you are not able to get a band score of 7 or more, you are stuck at 6 or 6.5 even after multiple attempts, and you don't know where you are lacking, what you are doing wrong, and what you can do to improve your writing and or speaking, though even reading or listening as well. We have made one of the most, if not the most extensive course on IELTS, in which we have explained all the 4 parameters that teachers use to assess your writing and or speaking, and what you should do to improve those parameters if you're stuck at 6 or 6.5. And if you want to get a band 7 or more, what you need to do, how teachers, they check your essays, they introspect your, they like evaluate your speaking, they mark your speaking, mark your essays. We have discussed in detail. We have discussed how to attempt your part 1, part 2 and part 3. We have also discussed how to attempt your task 1 if you're talking about GT, how to write your letters. If you talk about academic, how to write your graphs, the line, bar, pie, table, mixed graphs, your processes, your maps. Or if I talk about task 2, we have thoroughly discussed all the 5 types of task 2 and like in detail, so that you can understand what to do and how to attempt these tasks. Okay, so if you want to enroll in our video course, the link is in my bio. You can go in to the app and to the website and enroll in our video course. And become our next success story. We have helped numerous students to achieve band 7 or more in their writing and or speaking. So if you want to be our next success story, you can enroll in our video course and we will see you there. So with that being said, this is the end of this particular video. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.